Hello everyone! Get ready for incredible moments, caught on camera, featuring rare events and real-life surprises captured at exactly the right second. Look closely, because the smallest detail may reveal that something extraordinary is about to happen. The scariest thing about the flash floods in Gucci is their speed. Just a few minutes of delay can make the escape route disappear. The water was already frightening, but what came rushing down Karimabid also carried massive boulders, creating destruction 10 times greater. Gassing Beach nearly lost the boundary between land and sea as the water surged inland. Up close, the scene was even more terrifying. Have you ever experienced a storm this intense? Where are you watching from? Buildings across Venezuela's capital collapsed one after another, following two powerful earthquakes in quick succession.
Green and white checkers in the air, side by side to the line. Car gets it by enough.
The cat darted onto the racetrack and barely avoided the car at the last second. That was 9 lives used up all at once. Perhaps it was the movement right in front of it that caused this bull to become so agitated. A neighborhood in Mexico suddenly turned into a raging river, sweeping a woman into the current. Fortunately, she was rescued safely. Among the mountains of Gulman, a massive flow of mud suddenly came rushing down as if the mountainside had opened a floodgate. The hailstorm near Kansas City was impressive enough. But when the sky suddenly changed color, the entire scene turned an eerie shade of red. It seems this dust devil was trying to invite the horses to play, but they didn't look like they were having any fun. A bus losing control in the middle of a crowded street is the kind of situation that gives no one much time to react. Waiting at a red light in Busan, no one expected a taxi to suddenly come crashing down from the 5th floor. The street in Trujillo suddenly descended into chaos when a car lost control. For pedestrians, a few feet can be the difference between safety and disaster. High speed, combined with just one loss of control, is enough to turn an entire highway into chaos. In Yuzhong, floodwaters came rushing down from the mountains and quickly swallowed the road below, making everything in their path seem incredibly small. The old stream disappeared. A new waterway emerged. La Berarde was caught between two worlds. When Mother Nature decides to completely rewrite your plans for a day at sea. Just one massive wave was enough to turn a relaxing moment in Salvador into a terrifying close call. Two goats in Portland casually climbed onto a bus as if they had been using monthly passes for years. Albany may have been dealing with flooding, but for these ducks, it looked like they were having the time of their lives. Everyone thought going inside the shopping mall would mean escaping the rain. But in Changchun today, that wasn't necessarily the case. Just one container malfunctioned, but the explosion was powerful enough to shake the entire port of Ningbo. Only one stretch remained before reaching Kunlun, but the flood had completely blocked the road. Turning back was the safest choice. The bridge looked sturdy enough, but against the power of nature, enough sometimes still isn't enough. Without the camera, perhaps no one would have known how quickly the refrigerator disappeared. The station corridor was still crowded, and just seconds later, a tornado swept through and threw everything into chaos. When he stepped between the two vehicles, he probably never expected things to turn out like this. What I'm even more curious about is the relationship between them. Forgetting to engage the handbrake on a slope sounds like a small mistake. But after just a few feet of uncontrolled movement, the consequences could have been enormous. The streets are dangerous enough already. They don't need drivers like this making things worse. Some escapes are so close that all viewers can do is breathe a sigh of relief and be thankful that luck arrived at exactly the right moment. The water hadn't even receded yet, and more trash was already being added. In Alaho, it seems this flood even had a little help from people. The most frightening thing about Darali was that both water and massive mud and rocks came rushing down at the same time. The structures below had almost no chance of resisting.
Wow, look at the snow. It's so much.
Sardone was completely peaceful until the Alps reminded everyone that winter here is never simple.
Voilà, il y a à peu près 8-9 mètres de neige de hauteur.
Have you ever witnessed lightning strike this close? What's the most important safety tip you'd share? A moment in Daytona shows just how fragile a safe distance can sometimes be. Construction sites always come with unpredictable risks. Slowing down is the best way to give yourself more time to react. Amid the flooding in Tiriaco, Brazil, a vehicle was swept off the road. 2 people used an excavator to rescue an 80-year-old man safely.
Se agarra na máquina. Sabia que o vai? Não chega de não tem custo, não chega. ¿Qué tal? Ejército mexicano.
13 days underground is long enough for hope to nearly disappear. But this miner held on until rescuers finally found him.
Muy bien, gracias a Dios.
In Ximen County, Hunan extreme rainfall turned large areas into a sea of water within just a few hours. Raging floodwaters swept through Ruidoso, carrying everything in their path. May God protect all the residents. Just one wave along the littoral Paulista was enough to turn a few seconds of relaxation into a moment of panic. Someone might be looking for the stop button on their phone. Unfortunately, nature doesn't have one. On Hakone Shindo Road, a motorcycle carrying 2 people braked suddenly and fell directly in front of an approaching car, barely avoiding a collision. The gap between the 2 container trucks almost disappeared. Fortunately, the woman managed to remain in a safe position. Floodwaters didn't just enter homes in Tel Aviv. They also swept away a bridge, forcing several areas to evacuate. Watching vehicles in Chengda being swept away by the flood is enough to show just how powerful the water really was. Bangkok shook, and elevated swimming pools immediately turned into violent waves, revealing just how severely the buildings were swaying. Moments like this remind us how quickly the ground beneath us can change. What does this make you think about? There were no injuries, but Rosalind still couldn't breathe a sigh of relief. The fire continued to pose an unpredictable threat. The entire Caraquecha Peak seemed to collapse at once, turning the mountainside into a massive landslide. This moment is enough to make your heart sink. In the middle of the emergency, all he could think about was saving someone else. As floodwaters swept through Jalisco, the most valuable thing wasn't who could move faster, but who was willing to turn back and help those who were more vulnerable. The floodwaters in Spain were powerful enough to sweep cars away like toys. Just watching it is enough to understand how dangerous the situation was. A flash flood suddenly swept into a campground in Sichuan, China, leaving visitors scrambling to escape in panic.
Like a normal one?
A train traveling through the snowy Swiss mountains suddenly turned into a 2-hour wait after an avalanche completely blocked the tracks.
Putain, ce qui est tombé là. Bon, par contre là. Wow. Ça arrive, ça arrive, ça arrive. Oh, les arbres.
Amid the snowy slopes of Tenias, they deliberately triggered an avalanche as a safety measure, but its power still exceeded expectations. It was an unforgettable day, and also a gentle reminder: always check your equipment before using it to ensure your safety. Some escapes come down to just a few inches. He was incredibly lucky to be standing on the safe side of that distance. Four meerkat friends gathered under the heat lamp, looking as if they were discussing something extremely important. Instead of panicking and flying away, it kept running around and playing as if it were simply enjoying the moment. In Dolongjiang, the floodwaters decided to redesign the area in a way nobody wanted. The Sipaminkis River normally remained calm in Sukamakmur, but after heavy rain, it overflowed its banks and flooded the residential area. Half the wedding party was swept away by the waves, but the bride and groom still ended up with a wedding they would never forget. Who would you send this crazy moment to first?
It's actually moving toward me. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That's where I was parked at.
Malatya shook and dust filled the air. That's when you realize just how useful a face mask can be. This parking structure was supposed to keep cars safe, but in the end, it couldn't even keep itself standing. Does anyone need to watch this in slow motion? I still can't figure out what creature that is. Even the lion was startled when the sky suddenly roared. A large part of Dorali disappeared beneath the flash flood. With water this powerful, almost nothing could withstand it. Amid the Western Alps, Bardonikia suddenly became the escape route for a massive surge of water and mud. In a warm climate, the ground suddenly turned completely white with ice. That contrast made the hailstorm in Sorocaba even harder to believe. Everyone was still standing around watching when a wave suddenly rushed in, sending the entire crowd running in panic. When a tire loses traction during heavy rain, even a heavy truck can slide faster than the driver can react. A gas cylinder left inside a vehicle under the hot sun can become a serious hazard. The incident in Krasnodar is a very clear warning. They spent all day clearing snow only for the roof to undo all their work in a matter of seconds. The candle-blowing moment hadn't even begun when the party created its own special effect. Looking at the mud and rocks rushing through Chamison shows just how dangerous a flash flood can be. This was no longer just water, it was an entire mountainside coming down. The rain had stopped long ago, but the consequences hadn't. The mud flow in southern Utah continued to surge like a river of thick sludge.
I've never seen that in all the years. Now, go!
In Patagonia, the cold isn't just part of the forecast. It has practically become part of the landscape. A nearly 200-foot wall of ice collapsed into the sea. The entire Tracy Arm Fjord seemed to shake with the impact. People often say you reap what you sow. Perhaps this moment is a painful reminder of exactly that. Do you usually watch wildlife videos like this during a break or late at night? A column of light appeared along the snowy slopes of Austria, looking like a gateway in the middle of a white winter landscape. If you're wondering what those lights are, the Perseids may have just streaked across the sky over Guatemala. Nepal is facing more than just heavy rain. It's facing a massive surge of water slowly swallowing roads and residential areas. Fortunately, everyone noticed something was wrong and managed to leave the bridge before it failed. In Findikli, a seaside cafe turned into an accidental aquarium within seconds. Structures that once dominated the skyline eventually had to make way. In Nonthaburi, Thailand, a Honda Jazz tried to squeeze between two vehicles, but the gap closed faster than the driver expected. The wall collapsed while they simply continued on their way as if nothing had happened. So this is what a solar eclipse looks like from space. Those iridescent clouds are beautiful. But what causes those colorful bands? Anyone familiar with meteorology, feel free to explain. Everything was fine until he decided to use just a little more force. The kitchen they had been standing in only seconds earlier suddenly ended up directly in the tornado's path. An unbelievably close escape. Comment 100 to thank these firefighters. The excavator was built to move earth and rocks, but this time, the operator's precision turned it into a helping hand for a rescue. Thank you for staying with us until the very end of the video. Share in the comments which moment impressed or surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more incredible moments in our upcoming videos.